Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific. Okay, I was contemplating this Saturday morning what to do for a video topic, and all I had to do was read my opening news on the internet. Oprah Winfrey saying President Barack Obama is a victim of racism. And that's all I needed. I thought, oh, yes, here we go. Let's talk about Oprah Winfrey, shall we? African American woman who has done extremely well, not speaking truth, not promoting true faith in the only true God, but a diva who has amassed millions of dollars, lives a very comfortable lifestyle, dispensing her philosophies and stuff to a gullible American audience. Oprah Winfrey has had her cute little show under the name Harpo Productions, Harpo meaning Oprah backwards. Oprah is really into Oprah. Oprah threw quite a bit of money at Barack Obama for his campaign, and of course, as is custom in America, that when people don't like a certain person, the word racism is used constantly. Has no basis for it, has no truth in it, but it is a convenient out. I'm not going to get into all that Oprah believes. I've watched a few programs here and there throughout her tenure on television. I specifically remember believe it was a Southern gal standing up and saying that Jesus Christ was the only way. She wasted no time in saying, I don't believe that, and basically made light of her. Oprah has written books, Oprah has done well, and sadly, Oprah has enough supporters financially and in the polls that if she were to run for any political office, she could probably win an election, hands down. Oprah's views are not consistent with this at all. Oprah has made a god in her own image, mostly herself, and for her to say that President Barack Obama is a victim of racism, I'm going to tell you authoritatively that is BS. President Barack Obama has rammed things through to the American people. President Obama has an ego that will not stop. His father was an avowed racist and hated white people. Oprah doesn't mention any of that. And this is the thing that I cannot stand in African American dynamics, is that racism is a sledgehammer that is thrown out every time things don't go their way. And I know that there is racism in the United States, but let me tell you something, Oprah Winfrey. You're never going to listen to Pacific, I'm sure. You're too self-important to take the time to listen to the average person out here. But let me say this. I have sat in break rooms. I have been in Denver, Colorado, and Los Angeles, and I've seen a lot of racist black people. A lot of racist black people. And they justify it and excuse it because, after all, it was the whites who had black people as slaves. One thing that a lot of black people do not take into consideration is the fact that their own black people, Muslims, sold them to the white slave traders to make money. They don't want to talk about that. Another thing that they don't talk about is that there were blacks that were actually bought as slaves and treated very well by some white people. I don't endorse slavery, I never have, and I don't owe any reparations because I and my heritage had nothing to do with that. The black people don't like to talk about the Jews and the way they've been treated. They don't like to talk about the fact the Irish were used as slaves as well as the Chinese to build railroads and other things. But one thing that I've noticed, talking about the African American woman at work that thinks she's all that in a bag of chips, yesterday in a room of, at least 100 people were in there at one given time. And this woman was very loud, very obnoxious. And I said to the women sitting at my table, I said, do you think that she didn't get attention as a child and that's why she's got to make all this noise? And the Mexican women sitting at the table said, you know what? I am so sick of hearing that woman. My experiences with a lot of the black community in America has been that they are very racist. I've watched in this break room a dynamic take place, and I've seen it with Hispanics and whites as well, so fair is fair, that the black women only date black people and they only hang out and fraternize and get warm and protect each other's backs in the black community. Pacific is not racist. I've tried to intermingle with a lot of people, and some people will be nice to me, but basically the feeling I get from any ethnicity is, you know what, we'll talk to you, but you're not really welcome in our camp. President Barack Obama has made decisions that has offended many American people. His policies of getting us deeper into debt, his policies of bailing out companies that wasted money like AIG and General Motors and others and bailing them out. Most rational thinking Americans, white or black, cannot stand what he's done. Oprah doesn't want to talk about that, of course, because Oprah does not live in reality 101. Oprah lives in her comfortable, extremely comfortable elitist mentality, and I don't see Oprah living down there with the black people who are poor. She lives in Chicago, one of the upper end ritzy neighborhoods that most Americans cannot even afford to pay rent in, let alone a mortgage. Oprah Winfrey is very proud of her philosophy. She is very proud of her ways. And I was so glad when her TV show ended that she still just won't go away. She has made millions of dollars, perhaps billions. What has she contributed to the good of American society? Personally, nothing. She has contributed nothing from a biblical perspective, and I know some people will write me and say, come on, Pacific, does everything have to be biblically based? Well, according to my Bible, if one denies that Jesus Christ is the only way and denies that Jesus Christ is God and wants to believe that all religions have merit and believes what Oprah believes, well, guess what? Oprah's not going to be having a TV show in the kingdom someday. She will be in hell, just like everybody else who rejects biblical truth. I am sick and tired of the word racism thrown out there. And just because somebody like Oprah says it, millions of her fans will gullibly eat it up and lick out of her bowl and say, oh yes, that is so true. Are there people that don't like Barack Obama simply for his color? Yes. But I find that most Americans I talk to, including some intelligent black people, are starting to say, we don't want this guy. He's causing a lot of damage. I've noticed something driving home. I put a piece of cardboard, cut it out, put it in my sliding window in the back of my truck. It said, Obama and liberals, destroying America. Cars will pull up, read it, and they're backing off. And I thought, isn't that interesting? I live out in the west burbs, and I noticed that a lot more people out here tend to agree, so nobody's going to harass me. I go down to Denver, Colorado. I can go into any city in the United States where liberals have a stronghold, and I can tell you that it's interesting that in communities, in cities specifically, where people who voted for Obama, I was thinking about this the other day. When Oprah says that President Barack Obama is a victim of racism, I just chuckle and go, are you serious? That's why he won the election, right, Oprah? That's why he won twice, right, Oprah? Because some Republicans stood up and called him a liar. Oprah, could you please tell our audience where Obama's not a liar when he said people can keep their individual health care plans and millions lost it because of the provisions he and the Democrats put in their bill? No, Oprah, you won't deal with that. Let's say something else. When I look at inner cities in America, demographically, they're voting Their voting is overwhelmingly Democrat. Let's talk about the people that typically consider themselves liberal, and let's talk about what they support. I don't know too many pot smokers that go conservative ticket. I don't know too many gays that go conservative ticket. I don't know too many feminists that go conservative ticket. I don't know too many blacks that go conservative ticket. I don't know too many Mexicans that are in favor of illegal immigration that go conservative ticket. I don't know too many malcontents that go conservative ticket. Racism? I think it's interesting in America when the gays can push their pernicious ways on society and force us to accept gay marriage, which taxpayers will have to pay for that. And we who have a Judeo Christian ethic and do not believe that Adam created, you know, Adam and Steve, and we have to be forced to accept that. I wonder how come Oprah Winfrey doesn't care about a simple white guy like me. And let me tell you something, she has her own brand of racism. Trust me. Oprah Winfrey doesn't care about Obamacare and how it affects the rest of us. Why? She will not have to buy into it at all. Oprah Winfrey is a fraud. Oprah Winfrey has made money not working hard, but promoting philosophies that just aren't true. Oprah Winfrey does not take a look at the average white man and what we've gone through, doesn't take a look at how hard we have to work. She doesn't care. And what really bothers me is how gullible her fans and viewers are. And I don't find that I would want Oprah Winfrey as a leader in this country. She stands on absolutely no solid foundation whatsoever. She is worldly. She is successful in the eyes of a secular society because she's made big money. Doing what? Hosting a program. People who listen to me want to hear what I have to say because they believe it's truth. Oprah Winfrey has contributed nothing but some warm, fuzzy programs, and there are things that she has said that is true. But basically, in the long and short of it, when Oprah stands before God, God's not going to look at this diva and say, wow, I really enjoyed your program, man. Sorry. He's going to say, depart from me, I never knew you. Racism is a word that is used against anybody that doesn't go along with the African American dynamic in the United States. I want to say something. I want to say something very, very important. There are some black women that I have looked at and thought, my gosh, they're beautiful. And I have respected them. There's a girl at work that I work with. She's married, has a child. She's black. She's a very nice gal to me. She always says, how you doing, brother? She's a Christian. She is beautiful. She is kind to me. And I find that some of the black people I meet that are God-fearing and conservative, I like them. The liberal ones, let me tell you what I've noticed in my break room, Oprah, if you care to listen. And let me tell you what I've noticed in our society by and large. You never said anything about Rodney King's stupid, dangerous, and lawless behavior, did you now? Did you ever say anything about O.J. Simpson? Did you? That it was so obvious to thinking people, people who use their intelligence, that he was guilty as heck of killing Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman. You guys don't speak out on those. You never say a negative word about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and all the other clowns. Jesse Jackson calls himself a minister? Reverend? Are you serious? Jesse Jackson doesn't believe in the Bible in its entirety. Jesse Jackson is a rabble-rouser, a troublemaker, an instigator who loves to use the word racism to his financial advantage. Louis Farrakhan was a great example. Great example. No, actually, I find a lot of blacks in the United States, specifically the Democrat women, to be obese, loudmouthed, foul-mouthed, on welfare, supporting the government because the government basically takes care of them. Big advocates of Planned Parenthood and abortion, which I believe Oprah Winfrey supports abortion. Murder, okay. How come Oprah Winfrey's untouchable? Well, because she's got a fan base that doesn't quit. Oprah Winfrey does not live in our world. Somebody who say, well, she came out of poverty, big deal. I'd like to see Oprah Winfrey drive a school bus. I'd like to see Oprah Winfrey do construction. I'd like to see her be a plumber. I'd like to see her do street repair. I'd like to see her do any job other than what she's doing. Because even if Pacific's channel took off, which it will not, and I will tell you something, viewers, Pacific's channel's never going to take off like Oprah's because it's biblical. Why? Had a discussion with a woman the other day who I respect far more than Miss Winfrey. The woman is a Christian woman, 75 years old, soft-spoken, genteel, and yet strong backbone. We were talking about Christianity. We were talking about the issue of Christmas because, much to my surprise, she said, we don't celebrate Christmas. I said, really? I said, I don't either. And I said, I get more flack from Christians. She goes, oh, we do too. She said, Christmas is pagan to the core. I said, yeah, you can't tell American Christians that. They get all mad and, oh, Jesus is the reason for the season. I love my Christmas tree, you know. It's complete emotional euphoria at that point, and they're not going to listen to truth. Oprah Winfrey doesn't listen to truth. She, by and large, doesn't teach truth. But millions of Americans listen to this diva, and they flock to her program. And let me say it again, viewers, lest you misunderstand me. In American culture, what everybody's flocking after, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Oprah, whether it's Britney Spears, whether it's Eminem's latest release, the majority, the big crowds, I can point to you scripturally and say that it's probably not of God. When Jesus started speaking truth, it really stepped on people's toes. What happened in the pages of Holy Writ? People fled, people laughed, they no more followed him, and they started shouting, crucify him. Why? Let me tell you, if Jesus Christ were to show up in America and say, I'm going to give you all completely free health coverage. I'm going to give you all free groceries and cell phones and SUVs. What do you think the American people would do? They would love him. But if Jesus Christ came into this country and said, what you're saying on television is not right. What you're saying is evening news is not right. Your obsession with SUVs and spending $5 on a cup of Starbucks coffee while people in the Philippines have just lost everything and have no such animal as insurance because they can't afford it. When you spend more on your dogs, no, they would crucify him. They would crucify him and kill him and shut him up. Guaranteed. Oprah Winfrey would crucify Jesus Christ. In our upside-down world, it is daunting for those of us that are Christians because in the world's eyes, they think they're doing just fine, that they're where it's at. Deceived? You'd better believe it. Back to what I talked to about Satan. Satan has blinded the eyes of unbelievers. I don't care how much popularity somebody has. I don't care about their cutesy little sayings and Harpo Productions sliding across the screen and bumping Oprah on the butt in a little cartoon caricature. I'm sick of it. American people, by and large, are quite stupid and not intelligent. When people can get and throw their hat in Oprah's bull ring and sit there and get bigger and bigger and watch her, I look at that and go, how pathetic. But the world doesn't think that way. Take the average middle class, well to do family that lives in their manicured lawn neighborhood with their expensive wheelie toys, SUVs, and women spending too much in a shopping mall on their dowdy clothing. They think that's where it's at. They think, oh, I'm the cool one, and they look at a conservative and they laugh. I wonder if Oprah Winfrey has ever, even in her mind, articulated the fact that Christians are looked down on left and right, that conservatives have been the victim of complete vitriolic hatred, that the liberals in America have blamed everything on George Bush and still continue to do so, even though Obama has racked up way more debt than Bush has in a single election. How come nobody's allowed to question a black man named Barack Obama, and nobody's allowed to stand up and say the truth without being branded as a racist? Why? Because that is the ploy of the Democrat Party. That is the ploy of unintellectual black people. And when I say unintellectual, I'm not talking about all black people. There's a viewer who writes me who's black. He is Christian and he is conservative. He says, my own black women hate me just for that alone. How come Oprah doesn't talk about that? Do we have equality in America? No, not at all. Not in the press, not in anything. I think it's funny when everybody wants to yell about rich Republicans because they support big oil. Well, what have the Democrats done to lower gas prices? Nothing. What are the Democrats driving around every day? Gas-guzzling SUVs and Cadillacs. And Oprah Winfrey? Boy, she's a rich Democrat, isn't she? Very rich. Hollywood supports the Democratic Party. And what does Hollywood promote? And does Oprah ever speak out about Hollywood and their constant pushing of violence in the movies and sex and garbage and agendas and making the homosexual lifestyle more palatable? No, Oprah Winfrey, actually, you're wrong. You are ignorant. You are biblically illiterate. And all you're doing is making money on gullible, stupid people. People that love to sit in front of mind-rot television hour after endless hour. At least when people listen to me, I don't have a following that's throwing millions of dollars at me, Oprah. They're listening to me because they're tired of the lies in American society. And Pacific will never be as famous as you. Am I jealous? Oh, in a vain sort of way, I'd love to have the following you have. But I would rather have a following of few that are committed to truth, that pick up their Bibles and read it, that cry out to God. Because you know what? My reward, Oprah Winfrey, is not in a mansion in Chicago, not in a following of fickle people that have no clue from a hole in the ground. Yes, you heard me say that. Because, Oprah, you don't teach eternal truth. You have made money that comes from being a follower of, yes, I'm going to say it, Satan. What does the Bible say? Jesus says, you are of your father, the devil. He said that to these Jewish religious leaders. People who don't trust in Christ, their father is Satan. And Satan does very well at allowing his followers to be rewarded because it all makes it look very convincing that these silly Christians and their absolute truth beliefs, they're ridiculed and made fun of. But back to Barack Obama is a victim of racism. That's why he won 2 elections, right, Oprah? That's why he continues to give Americans mounting debt, has created not one job, and is egotistically bowling over the rights of American citizens with his Obamacare. Lied to the American people. Even Bill Clinton told him to honor what he said. Huh. Interesting. Too bad that Bill Clinton didn't look at his lying when he says, I did not have inappropriate relations with Monica Lewinsky. Okay, Billy. And I didn't do drugs, or what is it? I did it, but I didn't inhale. Wow. Oprah Winfrey, how come Democrats don't get impeached for their lying? How come they're never taken to task? Oprah Winfrey is part of Satan's kingdom. Clear and simple. I don't respect Oprah Winfrey. I have listened to a few of her programs, and the arrogance that she exudes as a self-proclaimed know-it-all, when she sitting there having millions of people who are not critical analyzers, not people who are well read, and Oprah has a book club and books she promotes, and I look at Oprah and I go, what has she really contributed to the American landscape? Some people say she may give to charity. What charity? Pacific is going to issue a statement, and this is going to make people mad. I am an open person. I would love to date a black woman. But in my travels in America, I'm amazed how a lot of the blacks automatically align themselves with the Democrat Party. And then when I look at a lot of the blacks that are fat, sassy, loudmouthed, and foul, that voted in Barack Obama and support smoking pot and gambling and drinking and carousing around and mind your own business and that whole ghetto mentality, all I have to do is look and say, Barack Obama's a victim of racism. I think it's interesting that black people continue to mount their attack on us whites. Everything's racist, everything's this, everything's that. White Republicans are not allowed to stand up and say, we have a problem with Barack's policy. Racist! We never hear, ever. A white person is not allowed to stand up on the floor of the Senate and say, a lot of black people in the United States are racist against whites. If that statement were issued from Washington, the press would be all over it. And the press angers me because they love to be devil's advocate at every turn. Why? Because they are the devil's advocate. Hello? Martha Stewart? Sheesh. People say it was all politics, that she was, doing that inside training. And I said, whether it was inside politics or not, I'm glad they made a spectacle out of her. Shame on you, rich Democrat, Obama supporter. You made money doing illegal activities and you got caught and you had a meltdown because you couldn't fold your little towels in your cell. She didn't even go to a regular prison, that's what I heard. The Democrats get away with murder in this country. Oprah doesn't want to talk about that. It's okay for Bill Clinton to get his ding dong sucked in the Oval Office by an intern, and that's okay. No, Oprah Winfrey and the likes of you people, you have created more damage in this country than a guy can shake a stick at. And yes, Republicans have their problems and white people have their problems. But I am watching my country that I'm a part of, that I say pledge allegiance to the flag to, just getting ruined over and over, day in and day out, by liberal, lying, conniving people who just ramrod their agendas through, blame everything on the conservatives, blame everything on the Republicans, and don't take personal accountability. And I look at the way you guys live and how rich and fat and sassy you are, and I look at all the people that vote Democrat that are on the system and food stamps and welfare, and you can go to any housing project in the United States, and I will tell you, the cops can't stand them. Crime and problems and domestic fighting and babies born on the system and chaos. And guess who most of the citizens in those communities are, Miss Oprah? Could you tell us, please, what ethnicity they are? But you won't, because you're not interested in truth. You're interested in getting the pot stirred and getting people to go, oh, yes, oh, Oprah, so right, so right. Oprah, you have an ego that doesn't quit. You are just like Satan, who said, I will be like the Most High. I don't watch you. I don't listen to you. You are not important. I pray that you wake up someday and realize you need Jesus Christ and you need something called truth. But I just don't think you're going to. No, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the successful rich Democrats throwing out terms like Obama's a victim of racism. Again, that's why he won 2 elections. That's why he has gone ramshackle through the American people when millions and millions of Americans don't agree with this Obamacare, and he's ramrodded his agenda. And all we can do is wait till 2016 when the new election comes into play, and this guy is out in 2017 January. And only then can we maybe attempt to get control of the wreckage and damage he has done to this country. Democrats are liars. Democrats use sleight of hand and smoke and mirrors. They are not interested in the rights of the American people. They are interested in promoting their own socialistic agenda of control. And the black people follow blindly along, many of them, and believe in this stuff and yell racism. One day, Americans are going to wake up and realize they are enslaved big time and start going, what is our government doing to us? Well, you guys all voted these clowns in. No. Oprah Winfrey, in my book, you haven't contributed anything of eternal significance and value to the American landscape at all. Your life is but a vapor, and one day when you die, you'll have a big funeral and everybody will cry and shed their tears. But in heaven, there's not going to be a big celebration for you. There just won't be. If you become a Christian and believe in the truth, you'll be welcomed home. But I'm just amazed at the things you say. I'm amazed at how much money you've made, and you just don't work a hard, honest job. You promote philosophies and thinking that isn't accurate. You're part of the liberal media who spin doctors. I have a problem with the people on major networks that are making big money as anchors, spin doctoring and lying to us and giving us the news in quotes that they want us to hear. No, I don't care for your philosophies, Oprah Winfrey. Calling people racist that don't agree with Barack Obama, that is immature and a cop-out, and that is not intellectual at all. A victim of racism. President Barack Obama will most likely go down as the worst president in American history. But of course, anybody who says that will be branded a racist. Oprah Winfrey will never do a program where I'm on it, and I can talk about what I've experienced at the hand of black people as a white American kid who did not have a racist bone in his body. She'll never host a program talking about that truth, because in her mind she believes that ultimately we deserve it because black people were slaves. Oprah Winfrey doesn't care that I was abused by my own white people who adopted me, and that I've gone through stuff, and I have my problems with white society too. But I also have problems with a huge percentage of the African American community in the U.S., and I'm not allowed to say anything because I'll be branded as a racist. How come when somebody speaks the truth about the African American community, they're branded with hate terms like racist? Because it's used to marginalize and a stigma to shut us up. Well, guess what, Oprah? I don't care how many books you write and how many billions of dollars you stuff in your overweight mouth and the stuff that you do. You're not getting my support. Oh, I got a problem with that woman. She bothers me. Just to make a statement like that, viewers, ought to tell you all, it shows her ignorance. Big time. By the way, you throw millions of dollars for campaign money for Barack Obama. What have you done for the rest of us white people who suffer and struggle just to make it? You going to buy my health insurance? Of course you're not. Give me a break, lady. This is Pacific, signing off. Bye.